Okay, class. So in this video, we're going to be looking at a hand where I 3-bet and folded pocket jacks. And this is really based upon my first instinct, my first gut instincts, and also population reads at the micro stakes. So this is a 10 and L hand, and we have pocket jacks in the small blind. The action goes to middle position, who open raises. And looking at his stats, he's been fairly aggressive. So if we look at his VPIP and PFR stats, he has 55-50 over 43 hands. Even if he is on a heater, I still think those are a bit high. I think they would probably be in the 30s or maybe even mid 30s, low 40s. Seeing that he's playing half of his hands, I just don't think it's that likely that he's running that hot. But we can actually look at his note caddy notes, and he is three betting versus blind steals with ace queen suited. So I think that's perfectly fine. A three betting range of pocket jacks, ace queen suited, calling three bets out of position with pocket jacks. So he's not getting too crazy and too out of control. Sometimes three betting pocket jacks, sometimes flattening three bets with pocket jacks. And it doesn't look like he's 3-betting a polarized range thus far over 45 hands. So we can denote him as probably being semi-loose aggressive, but playing a fairly conservative 3-betting game. So with that said, I think he's going to have wider opening ranges, but his 3-betting ranges, based upon the positional, in terms of positions where he is, whoever's opening, whoever's 3-betting, and what positions they're doing it from, he's going to be adjusting his 3-betting value range accordingly. So it comes around to us, and I look like a complete nit. I remember this session, I wasn't getting any hands on this table, so I mean, I'm 14-13 VIP PFR stats. I really just wasn't getting any hands. I have pocket jacks here, and I think versus a middle position open, when he has a VPIP and PFR of 55-50, I think 3-betting here makes a lot of sense for value, especially because we're out of position, and there's a lot of bad flops with kings and queens and aces on overboards. So we 3-bet, full backs around to him, and he 4-bets us to $3. And so now that puts us to a difficult decision. So what do we do with the jacks? Do we 5-bet jam? Do we flat? Do we call? Well, I don't like calling given the price that he is offering us. I think that the price is just pretty horrendous. We have to put roughly almost $2 more into the pot. And just based upon population reads, when people are 3-betting and 4-betting really big, it typically means they have a really strong hand. So you're typically not going to be seeing people 4-betting light at the micro stakes. People 3-bet a polarized 3-betting range, but they typically don't 4-bet a polarized range at 5 and L and 10 and L and 2 and L. So when somebody is 4-betting me almost 3 times my 3-bet sizing, he's typically got aces, kings, and queens, and a majority of the time, it's going to be kings and aces. If an opponent is super aggressive, which this guy looks to be fairly aggressive, he could have ace-king suited in there as well. So ace-king suited, we are around a 50-50 equity in terms of equity split between both of us. We have a minor edge, a 55 versus 45 if he has ace-king. However, if he has queens, kings, and aces, I mean, we're just crushed in this hand. I think we have something like 20% equity. So given that information, given that we have 100 big blind effective stacks between both of us, I don't like flatting, and I don't like jamming either. So I really think that the only option here is folding, and that's what I did. And I just went with my basic population reads that people aren't 4-betting light at the micros. When somebody 4-bets me 2-3 times my raise, they typically have the stone cold nuts, and it's going to be aces and kings, probably like 85-90% of the time. Given this guy is fairly aggressive, I think we can put queens in there. We block jacks, so we'll just ignore that altogether, and possibly ace-king suited in there as well. So I do make the fold. He takes it down, and I logged into Bovada, or well, now Ignition. I keep saying Bovada, and I logged in, and let me slide the hand over. So we'll just slide it right here so you can still kind of see the table. So I had a pocket jacks, and you can barely see the font down here, but he had pocket aces. And I don't know if you can really see it. They make it really difficult to read. And maybe if I highlight it, it's easier to see it. and it's not really easier to see it when I highlight yellow. But he ended up having pocket aces, and it's ace of diamonds, ace of spades. So yeah, I just made my fold based upon population reads that people aren't four betting light, and typically when somebody is just trying to mash as much money in the pot as possible with a four bet, they typically have aces and kings, and he had aces. And so this just gets down to the point that I want to reiterate, is that three betting polarized is the new norm in micro stakes. You don't have to three bet polarized, but it's fine to three bet polarized. But even though people know to three bet polarized, a lot of people aren't four betting polarized. They're three betting polarized and folding to four bets, or sometimes flatting four bets if they have a decent implied hand and stacks are deep. But when people are facing a three bet, they're not going to four bet polarized at the micro stakes, at least at 5-0 and 10-0 with the majority of players. 99% of the time, your four bets you're going to face, they're going to be a linear strong range. And typically aces, kings, queens, sometimes jacks, sometimes. If they're really a big fish, even smaller pocket pairs, ace king, I'm sorry, not ace king, but ace queen, ace jack for fish as well. And also for more aggressive regs, they don't mind getting the stacks in with ace king suited as well. One more point before we end this video is that what would I do if stacks were deeper? Let's say that we both had 250 big blind effective stacks. What would I do? Would I call? Would I re-raise? What would be the most optimal move here? Well, we need roughly 15 to 1 on our money. Some people say 20 to 1 for set money, but I typically say 15 to 1 is fine. So let me pull my calculator in over here, and let me get this ready and let's pull it up. So let's say that he has a $25 starting stack, and now he has 23 left behind. It's 2 for me to call, so 2 times 15, I would need to get roughly $30 back to break even. Well, not to break even, but to make money. To break even, you would need 2 times 9, because you're going to hit a set roughly 1 in 8.5 times. So I like to round up. So 18, I would need to get 18 back. I would pretty much need to stack him to get the money back if I need to get 18, because if he has 25 minus 3, he only has 22 left behind. So it allows a little bit of profit. So if we put him on a really strong range and we think that he's willing to stack off a 250 big blind stack with aces, kings, or queens when we flop a set, then yeah, we definitely can call. But if we don't think we're going to get paid off, then we should just fold to this 4-bet. So anyways, that's going to conclude our discussion on 3-bet folding pocket jacks. If you have any questions about this hand history, please let me know. If not, thanks for watching, and we'll see you at the next video.